Well, this is Bob Lemon, and I'm at the lemonade stand. This thing's getting ready to get real serious right now. Juneteenth just went past. That's the state when certain people found out blacks in a different area of the United States did not know that the slaves was free. African people from Africa, which we now is known as African Americans. So the big issue for me right now is observing this subject matter a few days after the fact. Let everybody get their Juneteenth celebration thing on, the holiday that the people has just now legalized, that we should recognize it, as they say, because we are the inheritors, the ancestors of these people from Africa. Even though today a lot of people see the Africans on 116th Street and we feel in some kind of way based on this, that, and the other. And the 116th Street I'm referring to in Harlem, because I'm from New York City and we in Harlem right now, right? The home of Bob Lemon. So that's after the feds had kidnapped me on a slavery thing with their war against drugs, you know? Dead serious about a nonviolent first time drug offender, they gave him life with no possibility of parole. Okay, I'm home. And there's gonna be a lot of things they're gonna hear about in a minute. So a lot of people asking Lemon, could you give us more podcasts constantly? That's gonna come, especially with my guests. But this is a marathon, not a sprint. The reason for one reason is right now I'm up for a pardon from the United States government. Yes, President Biden, because my sentence was illegal. I did the best thing in life an individual in jail could do, which is from the Marcus Garvey theory, the Martin Luther King theory, Malcolm X theory, is to better your mind, better your soul, better your spirit, and start analyzing the seriousness of being black in America, and see how you could get this thing conveyed to the youth, because you didn't know it as a youth in totality, the schism, the conspiracy, and the schemes that was going on, that was affecting you every day and those around you. But now I want to talk about a topic that kind of condenses this whole theory. Willie Lynch, yeah, he wrote a letter to slaves, masters, and the message is still true today in a lot of ways, because his application is what Willie Lynch said this letter to his fellow Caucasian people. And listen, don't condemn every Caucasian you see based on this letter or what I'm saying. There was a lot of Caucasians, right, at a time in the Underground Railroad that was helping us move through the South all the way up to the North, you know, whether they was Mormons or whatever they were Caucasians, and they was about helping the slaves get free. They didn't believe that bondage stuff was legit. It should be. It's something that God has said, these Caucasians are better than African Americans. Well, Africans at that time. Remember the statement African Americans comes later on, right? Because we wasn't recognized as a citizen, because we was, what, 3/4 of a man or something to that effect in one publication, all right? So now we're going to the Willie Lynch. And the reason why I want my brothers to know, the one that bust the gun out there and do all they do to survive, feed their family in some cases, in other cases they just get recreation. I want them to know that this thing here was kind of planned. This thing here was a strategic implementation of a doctrine that can go on and on and on and being passed from generation to generation in the Negro mind if he wasn't hip to this. You know, we be hip to game and we like, okay, they trick us once, they ain't gonna trick us again. I was just telling somebody else yesterday, matter of fact, a group of people that Black Wall Street stuff, and I'm not digressing, right? This is all on the same topic. I'm holding the letter for a moment for a reason. That Black Wall Street stuff of them coming down to Oklahoma and just burning up the place and killing the rich millionaires that was, strong economically. It couldn't happen today because the mentality of our youth today, they're warriors. Sometimes they're warriors for the wrong reason and they need structure, but they're warriors, you know. And then I don't like the word never because never is a long time. Because I never thought I would see a group of people go storm the Capitol, get in there, run around there with guns and armed, and looking for some people to kill, and they happen to be Europeans that's in control at the moment, and basically most of them got away with it. So that never, I watched that. I said, God willing, because about the futures, I do not know anything or no harm will come to me. So I'm gonna go back to the Willie Lynch thing, right? And like I said, the youth today is warriors. So that Black Wall Street and a bunch of people of another race, whatever race it is, couldn't run up in no place where millionaires lived that was of color descent from Africa and burn them out without a war, seriously. So now because I'm about peace, forgiveness, I just want this information to be recorded mentally in the youth to know that a lot of the stuff in the trajectory you're on about violence, that was a setup. And it wasn't no mistake, you know? So here go Willie Lynch. 1712, the untold story that youngsters don't know about today. It says, gentlemen, I greet you here on the banks of James River in the year of our Lord 1712. First I shall thank you, the gentlemen of the colony of Virginia, for bringing me here. I am here to help you solve some of your problems with slaves. Your invitation reached me on my modest plantation in the West Indies, where I have experimented with some of the newest and still oldest methods for control of slaves. Ancient Rome would envy us if my program is implemented. Yeah, that's Willie Lynch. Talk to other Caucasian landowners of slaves. As our boat sailed south on the James River, named for our illustrious king, whose version of the Bible we cherish, I saw enough to know your problem is not unique. While Rome used cords of wood as crosses for standing human bodies along its old highways in great numbers, you are here using the tree and the rope on occasion. I caught the whiff of a dead slave hanging from a tree a couple miles back. You are not only losing valuable stocks by hangings, you are having uprisings. Slaves are running away. Your crops are sometimes left in the fields too long for maximum profit. You suffer occasional fires. Your animals are killed. Gentlemen, you know what problems are. I do not need to elaborate. I am not here to enumerate your problems. However, I am here. This is something else. I am not here to enumerate your problems, he said. However, I am here to introduce you to a method of solving them. Now, this is where we got to really pay attention. Here go Willie Lynch going to give the other slave owners a methodology for controlling blacks, Africans, who are your forefathers if you're African American. And if you are of the people of color, they are yours too. And if we want to get real technical, even the Caucasians, the Africans are their forefathers because they say all mankind was created from one, and the pigmentation of the skins of African Americans can have other pigmentations come from them, but not so vice versa. In my bag here, this is James Williams. This is Mr. Lynch. Let's give him Mr. Lynch right now. William Lynch. In my bag here, I have a foolproof method of controlling your black slaves. I guarantee every one of you that if it is installed correctly, it will control the slaves for at least 300 years. My method is simple. Any member of your family or your overseer can use it. I have outlined a number of differences among the slaves, and I take these differences and make them bigger. I use fear, distrust, and envy for control purposes. These methods have worked on my modest plantation in the West Indies, and it will work throughout the South. Take this simple little list of differences and think about them. Now, my history of my family is from the West Indies. So this has a big importance to me, that old James, Willie Lynch, Tom Jefferson, and any other person who was slave owners. It kind of rubbed me the wrong way when I hear these theory right here. So listen to what he said. Take this simple little list of differences and think about them. So he's going to take our differences and make it a reason why we're going to be controlled for 300 years or more. It says, on the top of my list is age, but it is there only because it starts with an A. The second is color or shade. There's intelligence, size, sex, size. Plantations, mean how big the area is that the Caucasian own. Status on plantation, yeah. Who got more pull, the house nigger or the field nigger? That's how they carried it. Attitude of owners, whoever's in charge of you. Whether the slaves live in the valley, on the hill, east, west, north, south, have fine hair, coarse hair, or is tall or short. I said a lot. We know what's going on with the hair today, when really our black women, no contempt for this issue or not, but they really are trying to implement something mentally with themselves concerning having the hair of Caucasian women, the white women. So they're getting this straight European hair from China, whatever the case is. It ain't really about y'all in the hair. It's about the black men for real, because they are the biggest problem, because they're the one that control the family unit, and they're the one that kind of let you know what they expect and like from women, and therefore they're supposed to be the providers, and therefore the women do what they can to please them, even in their mind. So a lot of women think that, a lot of us young and old black men is very attracted to straight hair. So this is where this theory comes from and being pushed. Let me get back to this point. Fine hair, coarse hair, or is tall or short. Now that you have a list of differences, I shall give you an outline of action. But before that, I shall assure you that distrust is stronger than trust, and envy is stronger than adulation, respect, or admiration. The black slave, after receiving this indoctrination, shall carry on and will become self-refueling and self-generation for hundreds of years, maybe thousands. Take a peek at what he just said and look around us and see our position and see how we look at the girl with long hair versus the girl with curly hair or kinky hair. And not all of us this fits, but the majority of us have to pay attention. If it fits them, address it mentally within yourself. This ain't for nobody to come tell you, because nobody knows what's in you but you and the creator of the heavens and earth. So, for thousands of years, back to Willie Lynch, don't forget, you must pitch the old black male versus the young black male. A lot of youngsters, I ain't gonna say all of y'all, because some of y'all stopped listening like I used to, and others of my ilk. When the old dude talk, we want to listen, because this Negro here, he done been through some stuff that I got to go through in the future. And between me and you, I might could pick up something that saved me. So what I got to do right now is pay attention. Pay attention. So, youngsters, pay attention to the old. No disrespect for the old, because you're trying to get where he is at. He said, don't forget, you must pitch the old black male versus the young black male, and the young black male against the old black male. You must use the dark-skinned slaves versus the light-skinned slaves, and the light-skinned slaves versus the dark-skinned slaves. You must use the female versus the male, and the male versus the female. You must also have your white servants and overseers distrust all blacks, But it's necessary your slaves trust and depend on us. They must love, respect, and trust only us. So this is an issue of, you know, how people say, I'd rather go to a white restaurant than a black restaurant because this, that, and the other. Like they're gonna do something special. Or I'd rather have a white man work for me or do this than a black person. Where that theory come from? See what Willie Lynch was talking about way back then. Thomas Jefferson or James. So, what we gonna take from this letter? We ain't finished. Gentlemen, these kits are the keys to control. Use them. Have your wives and children use them. Never miss an opportunity. If used intensively for 1 year, the slaves themselves will remain perpetually distrustful. Thank you, gentlemen. So he was able to give in a succinct letter some advice to other slave owners on how to control the black, Negro mind, or African, whichever you want to identify yourself as, for hundreds of years, if not thousands. How are we perpetual? Because the statement he says is that this here will be a perpetually distrustful. You know, one thing I analyzed early on in life is that, you know, some white kids, when they're rich, you know, family, they could wear the dungarees and the worst looking sneakers over and over and this, that, and the other without. That was because they had pride already in themselves in some other way, some other areas where they didn't have to look a certain way in order to feel good. Understandable for us when we get a couple of dollars and we want to look good off the top because that's giving us pride back that we didn't have somewhere, right? And I get that. So there's no slight on us when we want to stay fresh to death and fly. Because first of all, in Egypt, we was kings and queens, and way back in Africa, all over the place, kings and queens. And I love to come home when I found us recognizing each other as kings and queens. That was something that was, I'm like, yeah, they get it. And that's for those who get it. Because even using the statement of kings and queens, then now you got to use the application. Got to treat each other as kings and queens. A brother said something to me a few times and said, pardon me, bro, trying to get up the steps in the building. I said, no problem, King. And he meant it. I could see it in his adab, his actions, how he referred to me. I said, thank you, my brother. And I told him, no, thank you, King, my brother. You know? So this little trade back and forth with each other. And queen, yes, the term when we use it, we have to get it really some meaning internalized to combat this Willie Lynch letter. You got me? And it's out there now. So there's forces that we have good fighting against that evil that he set up. Because we hip, most of us, or some of us, I don't know everybody, but now the people who want to see this, they hip too, right? So we don't really have to keep this crabs in the bucket mentality. We just got to find our own lane and start getting down. I say getting down, I'm talking about getting down to business. The business of what? Getting our generation with this future wealth, this future idea of love for yourself and for others. Meaning you treat people like you want to be treated. Black, white, green, and yellow. Because there's white people out here, like I told you in my last segment, right, that copied our culture. They love it. They love our swag and everything else. And this is the younger generation who, for the most part, is outbreeding this racist theory. Because they realize that we could do things just as good. And in most cases, or other cases, depending on the field, better. Why? Some fields we go into and we study it for years. Some fields they don't go into and study it for years. So therefore, that's the reason for that. So I'm in a position to tell you this. It said it takes a village to raise a child. Right now, there's a couple of organizations getting out there with me. The PrEP program by Jim Couch, right? That has a lot of NBA stars that he has produced by cultivating them with education and sponsoring a lot of programs for the youth to get into so they could get out the streets and put their God-given talents to use in economics, engineering, agriculture, because we got to have our own food. Our own food has to be a source of the program, so you can eat that which you grow, and learn how to make sure your generation learns that skill of cropping, not for the overseer, but for yourself. So this Willie Lynch segment was something that is stirred in me based on Juneteenth. I let Juneteenth go by because I want to let that aspect of what people were talking about, just freeing the slaves, go through. But this thing I'm talking about is why the Crips and the Bloods, the Netas, Land Kings, people of color, the dude that run this block and the dude that run that block. Ain't no real money out here anyway. I always got to state that. I've been watching the streets. Ain't no real money out here like it used to be, for whatever reason that is. But, so some of that stuff ain't even worth it. Unless you're going to take the $5, $10 and make it legit somehow and get out the game. That's what it should be about for those who choose their life anyway. But for real, due to the internet and all these other technologies, right, y'all don't need that hustle. That hustle there is what? Detrimental to your community, detrimental to your family. It can lose you for a number of years when there's too much access to inventive ideas to get yourself marketing and get some money coming in as income. All right? And 2, 3, 4, 5 jobs. I got Jamaican in me, so I'm going to have 5, 6, 7 jobs. You know? And the job that you like best is the one that's so sweet, you don't even feel like you're working. All right? So now listen to the Willie Lynch. I want the women to know that y'all queens and the men to know that y'all kings. And what I'm saying to y'all is this. Y'all can own empires of your own. No hating on the next person. Promoting the next person. Showing them love if they doing what's right and positive. And be quick to help the next people of color go get ahead. If you can. You can buy for the people not of color and spend with them too. If they have a product that's better, and then self-interest has to take place. No. We ain't saying just spend with the brother or the sister just because. No. They got a product of equal value, equal, what you want to say? Equal value of producing whatever you're trying to get done. Hey, don't be afraid to choose the brother, because some people be like, no, I'd rather work with the white. I've heard it before. And in some cases, you'll find that in 1-2% of certain things, it may even be true, sadly say. The reason why is because there's a white person that feels guilt because of the history of the Caucasian, and he goes out of his way to let you know that he is not like them. Therefore, he ends up treating you in an extra better way than the black person that come and he want to show he better than you. So he want to one-up you and let you look inferior to him. Like, I made it. I'm one of those. See, that's where I'm saying to you that 1, 2, 3%, I don't know it. I didn't do the statistic. I ain't got time for that statistic. But I'm just telling you it's a fact. But buying black and spending what you own, it's not a racist idea. It's a statement of what you're trying to say, promoting growth and development in your neighborhood with those who are going to spend in your neighborhood. That's the process we're talking about. Because there's no superiority over the white or the black or the Arab over the non-Arab. Superiority is those who's most God-fearing. Period. All right? And I say what I said out of love. And I'm learning today things I didn't know clearly yesterday, meaning years ago. And I want the youth to realize that we ain't speaking at you, we're speaking with you. And you'll get the chance to conference with me. You'll get the chance to make your comment. You'll get the chance to ask the question that I hadn't seen that you needed answered. And maybe my years of experience can help you. And the old fool, I always call you the old fool, Because the ones that's old and already that the level of they doing the right thing, you don't need accolades. You know, you live the old age of not being a child and being a man, and you're already producing. No accolades needed. Got me? Say it out of love. Peace. Bob Lemon. It's the lemonade stand. Come.